Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. This is our 9th session of our District Learning Assembly for 2024. And this is our last session. So thank you again for joining us. If you were at the Grants Qualification Seminar last Thursday, you do not have to attend this session. This is identical to the session that we offered last week. So to get us started, first I would like to introduce our District Learning Chair, Kalpana Patel.
Hello, everybody. Good evening.
Hi.
Kalpana is the person who's responsible for putting all these wonderful learning sessions together for all of us. So we thank her very much. And our Technology Information Chair, Barry Crow.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you, Barry. Barry, would you please share screen and show us the website homepage? Barry has been recording all our learning sessions and put all the material, including the recording, the PowerPoint, or whatever relevant material to each one of the sessions onto our website.
Working on it.
So everyone has access to the information. If you go to your...
So this is our homepage, and under member information, it's 2024 District Learning Assembly. And under this link is the page of each day's training. And these are the handouts and the Zoom recording for each of the numerous days that we did. And if you'll notice that did I change that? I didn't, but I will. Oh, here it is. Grant Qualification 5.2 and 5.14. So if you attended on the 2nd, you don't need to be here today on the 14th.
And Barry even have a shortcut to come to this page. Go back to the home page and show everybody.
Yeah. Welcome district, district homepage. So we have redone. Did you miss the District Learning Assembly? Well, if you need something, click here, and it'll take you to the.
You're no longer sharing, Barry.
Oh,
we cannot see.
Sorry about that. Share. So here's the district homepage, and it says, did you miss anything from the District Learning Assembly? Everything that was on the page that I just showed you is available by clicking here. If I click there, back to that page.
All right. Thank you very much, Barry, for doing all the work for us. So tonight's session is District Grants Qualification. And let me introduce our District Foundation Chair, Andy Palomares. I'm sure he's here, but I don't see him on my screen. Andy? Yep.
I'm here.
Great. And also, who's going to present first? It's our grants chair, Pamela Singh. She's here as well, but I don't see her.
Hello, everyone.
Okay, great. So, Pamela, I understand you're going first.
Yes, I think I am.
Take it away.
Oh, yes. Kalpana, are you going to, okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. Today, I'm going to talk to you about the district grant program. And as we all know, the district encourages clubs to do projects that benefit the community, and Rotary supports these projects by paying half the expenses. I would encourage all clubs to apply for a district grant because it helps the club to inform the community of the Rotary projects underway. And it helps build partnership with the community vendors and organizations and attracts new membership. Now, before I go any further, I just want to let you know that this is a very interactive presentation. If during my presentation, if you need any explanation or you have any questions about what I'm talking about, please feel free to stop me using the little hand, and Kalpana will see what questions you would like me to answer, and I will try and answer them to the best as I can. All right, shall we go to the next page, please? Okay, district grant objectives. What kinds of projects are eligible for a district grant? The policy is quite flexible with Rotary Foundation in our district. Almost any project that meets the needs of the community is eligible. RI and the district are looking for hands-on participation by the club members, and they encourage clubs to invite non-members or families to participate in supporting the projects. The district grants can be used to fund a variety of club projects and activities. And some of the other ones can be disaster recovery efforts, scholarships for any level or area of study, or community outreach, just to name a few. Can we have, okay. Now, who is eligible to receive a district grant? Every club is eligible. Now, this is something new this year. Clubs can participate in up to 2 grants, and one must be with a collaborating district partner. Who is a collaborating district partner? Any district club or clubs, you can do a district grant with them, or you can also use Rotaract clubs to help you. The Rotaract clubs on their own are eligible to apply for a district grant, through their sponsoring clubs. Projects are generally done locally. Sending a check to another organization is not eligible. And as our district and RI want, we must include hands-on participation with club members. Gift cards are not allowed. And this year, clubs may, next year, clubs may repeat the same project every year, like the dictionary project, food bank support, scholarship, just to name a few of the popular ones. And grants cannot benefit a Rotarian or their relatives. Next, okay. How do we get to an application for the district grant? Applications for a grant are available on Club Runner in the grants module, which you can access from the district website. And the link is, njrotary.org. Reimbursements will be given to clubs once the initial and full application is approved by RI and the district. Once the project is complete, the final report with all receipts, invoices, and payment vouchers should be recorded in the grants module and approved by the grants committee. Once all these are completed and approved, then the district treasurer will reimburse the clubs. Any questions so far? Okay. Now, district grants, the amount for this year, like last year, the minimum foundation is $1,000 and the maximum is $7,000. The district grant amounts will be distributed to participating clubs. The district still does not know how much DDF will be received next year. The actual amount for the district grant may vary based on availability of the funds and the number of clubs that will apply. We had to make an adjustment this year as well. Clubs that had requested 2,500, we cut it down to 1,700 because the DDF didn't cover everything. Now, any district grant that is requested between $1,000 and $7,000 will also be accepted and reimbursed by the district and the Rotary International. Next slide, please. This is just an example. Again, the district grant, the minimum is 1,000, the maximum is 7,000. And the clubs will be responsible for 50% of the total cost of the project. And an example is if the district, if a club requests a 7,000 district grant, they are responsible for 3,500. And the same thing if you apply for 1,000, 1,500, or any amount between 1,000 and $7,000. But something new this year is that for all district grants over $1,000, a public image plan is required for the project. A public image plan is there to inform the community of the Rotary projects underway in the area or for the community. And in order to publicize that, you can use social media or you can post the information on the website. If your town has a town newspaper, you can always publish a flyer or information in that, or you can also have mailings and just to name a few, possibilities. There could be, anything you want to do, but when the clubs submit their final report, there has to be, where you answer the questions, which you explain the extent of the project and who the beneficiaries are. There, maybe we can put what your public image plan was. Nothing in detail, just maybe a line. We use social media, or we had flyers, or we put it on our website. You don't have to give us, any proof or anything for that. Just a line to tell us what your what your plan did. Next slide.
Pamela, there is a question on chat from Michael Carroll from West Orange. If a club applies for 2 district grants, will the district have the funds to support the grants? This year, the grant amount was reduced. Had we applied for 2 grants, would we have been considered?
Well, as you said, one grant has to be for the club and the other you can use with a collaborating partner. And as I said, if we don't have enough funds, the amount can be adjusted. But let's wait and see how much, DDF the district will receive, and how many clubs are applying, how much they are applying for. I can't answer that question because I don't, I'm not sure what is going to be, requested and how much monies we are going to receive. So that you will find out later on when we are working on the district grants in July.
Pamela?
I just said, John, we don't know, at least, we don't know as yet how much DDF we are going to get. And once we know it and we know how much the clubs are applying for, then, that's how that's how we will find out later. I can't answer that question right now for you.
Pamela, that's not my question. My question is, how much did we get this year? You said we had to scale back. What was the total size of the pot?
Andy, can you help me here? I think it was.
God, I don't honestly remember how much we got this year, and it really isn't
neither
pertinent.
can I.
It isn't pertinent. It isn't pertinent to.
Andy?
I can find out. If you're interested, John, I can find out and I could,
Yes.
send
Thank
that
you.
amount to you. But
For
as of
planning
now, I don't
purposes,
know it at
it
the top
is.
of my head.
It is pertinent for us to know because we saw what happened this year, so it can help us to plan for the future. Thank you. If you can let me know, that would be great.
I'm sure.
John, excuse me, Pam. John, it's an unknown. And as far, we can tell you what it was, but we have no way of knowing whether that would repeat itself or not. It depends on.
Andy, I understand that. I'm asking what it was. You just said we know what it was.
We will get it to you. We will get it to you.
That's my
after the
question.
fact.
What was it? Thank you.
We will, John. No problem. Should we continue with the presentation?
Yeah, Pam, can I
Okay.
interrupt? Pamela, it's Jeannie.
Hi, Jeannie. Yeah.
Okay, first of all, for those of you who did not attend the session where we talked about the foundation in the first week of the District Learning Assembly, I'm gonna ask Andy to spend a minute or two to explain what do we mean by DDF, so everyone will understand what this means.
Sure. DDF stands for District Designated Funds. And the way the whole program is called SHARE, which I would hope most of you know about. And all funds contributed to the annual fund 3 years after they are given, 47.5% of those funds come back to the district as district designated funds. 50% of those funds are used for district grants. The balance of the funds are used for global grants. In addition to the annual, the share part, there is also interest from the endowment fund, which comes back to the district, also an unknown number until after July 1st, and that is included in the district designated funds. Any questions?
Thank you, Andy, for that explanation.
Shall we continue? Okay. All right. Applying for the district grant, how do we apply for it, is a 3 to 4 step process. The first step is that the initial and full application is approved by the district branch chair, which is me, and I work with the clubs if some things need to be added or not. The full application also includes the budget that you need for your district grant. Once that's approved, then it is sent to Rotary Foundation for their approval. And once we get their approval from them, the clubs are notified that your grant has been approved and you can begin working on it. Just an FYI, Rotary Foundation and the district, we are very careful that the projects are started after the approval is received from Rotary Foundation. Previously, many times, you want to get ready for a project and you buy goods and items before, but those receipts, if they are dated before the actual approval date, they will not be reimbursed. So I say, that is very important because I don't want clubs to lose out. So they should just wait till the approval is met and then start working on any part of their project. The third step is that once your project is complete, then the final report has to be submitted. And the final report in itself has 3 steps. There's the first step in which you have to explain your project in detail and who the beneficiaries were and how and what the project accomplished. The second section is the financial report, where you have to list your expenses and your income part, which includes the district grant and the monies, 50% of the project of the expenses, which will be borne or the clubs will be responsible for. The third section is documents. And in the documents, you upload your receipts, your invoices, your payment vouchers. If you're using checks, a copy of your check. If it's you're using credit card, a copy of your credit card. Any document like thank you letters, any photographs, all that gets uploaded to the documents section. And all the receipts that are uploaded have to match what is in your financial report. This year, couple of clubs are because sometimes there are so many receipts that I've got to look at each one and calculate and see that they match what has been, written as part of the expenses in the financial report. And it can take a lot of time, but many of the clubs sent me a separate document listing every expense and how much money in that receipt went towards the project, which was really helpful. Otherwise, things get canceled out or say this is personal and this is for the project. It gets very confusing. And then once the final report is approved and all the pieces are there, then you get then the clubs get reimbursed by the district treasurer. Okay. Now I'm going to next slide, please. Okay, these are some of the important dates. The grant module opens for new applications on May 22nd. July 30th, midnight is the hard deadline for the initial and full application. We've increased it this year by 2 weeks because by July 15th, after July 15th, many people submit their initial report, and then to get the full report, full application, it takes a while. And so we thought we'll give an extra 2 weeks so that we don't have to, do it anyway. Then after July 30th, the grants are submitted to Rotary International for approval. It takes them anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks to up to 6 weeks, depending on their workload and how many clubs their information needs adjustments. Once all that is complete, then we get the go-ahead. This time it was this year we received it in September. And then once we receive that, then you can start working on your project, expending your funds, but save all the receipts, photos, and documents for the final report. April 30th, 2025 will be all the projects must be complete and the final report must be recorded in the grants module. If it's not received by April 30th, then the club loses the grant. I will cancel it. And then the unused funds will be returned to RI. Every year, it goes way over April 15th. This year, it's been April 15th. Next year, again, I gave it an extra 2 weeks. But I'm still working with clubs, trying to get their final reports together. So it does, hopefully next year, we'll just say April 30th is the deadline, and anything after that will be canceled. I also received many calls from clubs requesting information on how to fill out the initial and the full application and the final report. So this year I decided to put the instructions together to how to use, the initial application and the full application, the final report. Please make a copy of it. It's in the grants module, and where the clubs go to get my club grant. On the same menu line towards the end, it says grant and documents. Click on that, and that's where you'll find these instructions. They are a good resource. Please make a copy of it, and it goes step by step. And I don't think any club should have any problem at all. Next one, please. Any questions?
None on chat.
Yeah.
I have one.
Yes, John.
My hand is up. Pamela, that means that if the portal opens on May 22nd, we should just rely upon what you gave us tonight, the $1,000 bottom or the 7,000 top, since we won't know how much money is available. And so we should put our project in along those lines. And if you don't get enough money or you get too many applications, you'll scale it back. So we
Yes,
should fully work within those guidelines.
yes,
And Pamela, one other point that I just wanted to add to what you were just saying. The reason that you have to know by the end of April, even though you're still working with clubs, is you have to submit the final report to RI. And until
yes.
they close out the year, they won't open the following year. So if you're not getting what you need in a timely fashion, then next year will be delayed.
Yes, but I see to it that everything is done by then. So we don't, we have never delayed anything because we know how important it is to complete it by the given date. So, but thank you for reminding me again, this year it's been a little late because not because of the clubs, but because of me. I was not well for a while and couldn't concentrate on district grants, but I've caught up and hopefully things will be done.
Pamela, you're
And
the
he was
best,
very kind to give me an extension, so I appreciate it.
you're the best district grant chair that I've ever seen. You do great work.
Oh.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, John. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. All right.
Hi, Pamela. There's a question on chat from Mike Cass from Summit. We award scholarships, but the awards are not made and payments issued until June. Can the deadline be adjusted for this?
Well, yes, I spoke about it at the last meeting and on May 2nd. And we've spoken to Rotary Foundation, what I have asked clubs to do. By March 15th, students know which college they are going to be attending. Once they know that, then they can submit their request for scholarships. This year, it was delayed because the FAFSA website was down for quite a while. They were having a lot of problems and quite a few clubs were delayed. But we gave them an extension and, said they just give us, how much you're going to give with a copy of the check. And before we submit everything to Rotary International, you should know, which students you're going to be selecting and put the name. And by June 15th, anyway, all the graduations take place. So, and Rotary Foundation okayed that for us. So that's what I had told the different clubs, and we've had no problems. In fact, all the clubs that did apply for scholarships, they all had names on it. We were, Watchung Warren was the only club that was delayed, but we managed to make the deadline.
I have two more questions on chat, Pamela.
Yeah.
Thank you for that answer. Steve Alford from Roxbury has a question. About the last bullet point. Who files that and where? So maybe I'll go back to the previous slide.
Say that, yeah.
Steve, could you ask your question to clarify, please?
Yeah, the last bullet point says, that's in the way. I'm going to get rid of it. Clubs must have set foundation giving goals, polio plus and annual giving by July 15, 2024. Who does that and where do they do it?
Well, it's done by the clubs.
Who?
I
Your
can answer that.
president-elect or your foundation chair or your secretary, whoever has been assigned by your president-elect to do it.
Okay, where do they do it?
In Club Runner.
Just on the district club runner?
No,
No.
No, it's in a Rotary, it's on
This
the
is-
Rotary website. Yeah.
Pamela, let me answer this question.
Sorry.
On last Monday, when we had the meeting with all the president-elects, we covered this specific area. President-elects are responsible for setting 3 goals. Annual giving, polio, and membership goals for next year. They are to do that in a very specific module on the RI website. We have instructions on our website, district website, to show everyone exactly where and how to do it. If you were on the call earlier when we first got started, Barry showed everyone how to get to all the information for all the district learning assembly sessions. One of the sections, if you scroll down, there is an area called Club Goal Setting. That's
Okay.
exactly where you go find the information as to where to do it.
All right, thank you for that. We'll just check with our president-elect to make sure she does it.
And,
Yes.
and just an update on that, the information on our website is outdated. It will be updated within the next week.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And Pamela, 2 more questions. From
Yeah.
Livingston Deprecation, we had a grant approved and the project was completed. We were told a month ago that the check was coming, but we never received it.
I will check into that, and I'll let you know. It could be delayed on my part for some reason because, but I will check and who is the person? If you could just drop me an email or something, I will get you an answer by tomorrow or day after. All right?
And this is another, looked from Montclair, from Bob Rinkland. Looked at the list of learning programs on the district website and the session about Club Runner for club officers without a link to a Club Runner PDF, or is there no Club Runner PDF?
I don't understand the
I'm-
question.
I never,
I
Bob, could you
don't
clarify?
understand it.
The question
sorry.
is that under all of the learning sessions, there is a hyperlink to a PDF about the topic that was discussed. And in the Club Runner section, there appears to be without a link to any PDF.
That's still under construction, should be done in the next couple of days. It
Thank you, Barry.
takes a little
Okay.
bit of time to
Thank-
process the videos.
Thank you, Barry. All
Next
right.
question is from Phillipsburg, Marion Trapani. This year, we had to set a foundation giving goal, Polio Plus and membership goals. For this year, what is annual giving?
Say that again. I'm not sure. What is the question?
Marion, I think this question may have just been answered. If not, could you please clarify? Jeannie just answered this question.
Yes, so this year we did the foundation giving goal, we did polio plus and membership. For this coming year, you have polio plus, a foundation goal, and annual giving. What is this annual giving?
It's
And
exactly
you
the
already
same.
have in there for the foundation and polio plus. Like, what is that additional annual giving?
The
There's no
foundation goal,
addition.
the foundation goal and the annual giving goal are one and the same.
Exactly.
It's still the 3 numbers. That's still the 3 goals that we asked president-elects to provide. Exactly the same. One is the Rotary Foundation annual giving, polio plus, and membership. 3 numbers.
Okay,
What
but it says annual giving. It doesn't say membership.
That's a little typo. I apologize for that,
Okay.
but Jeannie has said that membership, Polio
Okay.
Plus, and annual giving.
Okay,
All right?
yes,
right.
so, yeah,
Oh, I see that now.
No
All right.
worries.
Yeah.
No worries. No worries.
okay.
Okay.
I just needed to clarify.
Yes, sure. I'm glad you did. That's
And on the
All right.
website, for those of you who did not attend the May 6th session, we actually provided recommendation for the clubs as to how to come up with these 3 numbers. If you will refer to the material from the session, you will find that as well.
Mike, yes, it is available on the grants module in Club Runner. This PowerPoint is available. I will make the correction over here, and it should be, it should be up to date by tomorrow. And then I'll upload it again. I'll add membership to this list, okay? But it is there where you'll find the instructions on, how to get the information into the initial and full application and the final report. So all that information is under grants and documents.
We have
You're
another
welcome.
question from
Okay.
John.
Yeah, from Randolph Cremens. Hi, Pamela, can you check on the Randolph reimbursement? Also for the Liberty Tree plaque for the $1,000 for the 23-24 year. It's about the status of their grant check.
Yes, I will. That's Livingston, right? Yes, I will. I will.
That's Randolph.
Livingston and Randolph.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I will. All right.
And my question is, this year we had the requirement that if you were funded with a district grant, you had to have a program at your club relating to the foundation. Has that requirement?
I know that's just a recommendation. That's not required.
Thank you.
It's a recommendation, and that slide is coming up. It's still there, and it's recommended for next year as well, but it's not a requirement. And if you don't, I mean, it's good because the club learns of different things. But if you can't, if you haven't done it, it's okay. But anyway, let's continue. All clubs have to qualify. No, we have. I don't think we finished that. Oh, yeah. Okay, so all clubs have to qualify to apply for a district grant. Clubs must appoint a foundation chair. Clubs must attend the grants qualification seminar, which one was offered on May 2nd, and today is the makeup May 14th. Hopefully all clubs have, we have 2 members from each club, and they prefer that we have the president-elect and the foundation chair-elect, but if they can't attend, they can designate 2 members to attend for them, but we do require 2 members to attend the grants qualification seminar. And the president-elect must have attended PETS, or if not, meet the district makeup requirements. And then we talked about the clubs must have, Polio Plus annual giving and membership by July 15th. Now we can go to the next one, please. Now this here, John, you were asking, these are only recommendations that each club should have at least 2 foundation club programs during the year. One definitely on polio and the other on any other foundation topic. And the program can be presented by your club's foundation chair or any other committee chair. And I believe the list of committee chairs is posted on the district website. Now, the next one, please. And we've come up with reimbursements again, what the requirements are. And it's just a little repetitious, but clubs must be current with district and their RI dues. They have to complete their final report with receipts once the project is complete. And the reimbursement will be paid to you by the district treasurer once the final report is recorded in the grants module and approved by the district, district grants chair. And the final report must be filed by April 30th, or the club loses the grant. And as I had said, the final report has 3 sections. One is a detailed explanation about the project and its accomplishments. And you can add your public image plan over there because there are about 6 questions and the 6th question is not used that much. Then the financial report has 2 sections, the income and expense, and they both must match. And the documentation should have receipts, invoices, cancel check, credit card payment slips, any thank you notes, any pictures, photographs that you might have taken during the project. You can upload all that information. And the receipts, as I said, has to match match the number under your expenses. So far, that's what we have. And that's the end of the presentation. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I'll be glad to answer them. There was one from Barry.
No,
Various.
I was just making a comment that only 35 of the 77 clubs have a foundation chair listed. So double check your foundation chair in Club Runner.
Well, okay, we'll do that. Well, now Livingston is asking about global grants. I think I'm going to, if no more questions for district grants, I'm going to turn it over to past district governor, Andy Calamares, and he's going to talk about global grants.
Yeah, I have my hand up. Pamela?
Yes?
Okay, it's Jeannie. To answer John's question earlier, the total 2023-24 DDF is $131,000.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yep, and for next year, the reason that we do not know is that, as you know, there are two portions of DDF, right? One is the DDF, like Andy said, from 3 years ago, the 47.5%. That we know exactly how much that will be. That's approximately $127,000. But we do not know the endowment portion. And we will not know that number probably till, say, August or so. So at least we know that out of 127,000, half of that will be allocated, 50% will be allocated for district grant for next year. So that's an approximation, of course, but we know it's going to be more than 50% of 127,000.
Am I ready, Jeannie?
Yep.
Before we start, Andy, I'm sorry. Deborah
Yeah,
from
I see that.
Livingston had one more question.
Go ahead.
I could say it if that's okay. Sorry, my kids were a little loud before. I just wanted to make sure I understood it correct. Last year, it was 1,000 club contribution and 1,000 district contribution. Just so I understand this correctly, the change is that now it's as low as 500 up to 3,500 club contribution with matching. Did I get that correctly?
Yes, you did.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure I understood it.
Yes.
Hey, on to you, Andy. Thank you, Pamela.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Pam.
Yeah.
Good job. Now
Thank
we'll
you.
talk about, you're welcome. Now we'll talk about global grants, which is significantly different than district grants. There are fewer of them usually executed within the district every year. Then global grants are given by the, next slide, please. Global grants are given by the foundation to support international projects. Now, the tricky part always has been for me, because we always think of ourselves as the host. Well, in the case of global grants, the host country is where the project will be managed, and the international partner or international host will be the supporting district. Most of the grants that we're involved with here in this country are done in other countries, so we are many times the international partner. That's not to say that the grant can't be initiated here in this country and we would become the host club, and the international partner would be in some other country where they are supporting a project here. There aren't as many of them done that way, but they can be done, and in fact, the Rotary Foundation is encouraging that, to have more projects done here in this country. That's just a sort of an FYI. The host club, however, does all the work. They have to do the community assessment for the project itself. They have to manage the implementation of the project, and they have to submit all reports to the Rotary Foundation. the host club is required to contribute 15% minimum of the grant. And RI would like the grants to be host driven. That is, they would like them started in that country. They would prefer not to have, let's say, someone here in New Jersey talk to somebody in India to say, you should do that. They want it to be initiated there and for the assessments and so forth to be done and driven by the country and the area to where the grant is going to be executed. Next slide, please. Now, the process is, first of all, you need to have as much information ready prior to starting a grant application. Now, there's nothing wrong with you helping the host country with this, with the application, because in many cases, they're not as qualified or they just don't have as much information about global grants as you might have. But when the grant is, you begin to think about the grant, you should have as much information available as possible before you get started. And if you are the host country, the community assessment report is very critical, and that is really what drives and allows the grant to proceed. And all global grants have to align with these 7 areas of focus. So you have to decide when you're executing a global grant, which of the 7 avenues will apply to this particular grant. You need to know who all your partners will be in the project. And it can be, it doesn't have to be a particular club or a particular district. You can ask other clubs to join with you, and you can ask other districts to join with you. In fact, the more participation, the better, and that's a way of getting more funding to come in. You're going to have to tell the foundation how you will monitor the project as it's ongoing and how it will be monitored and sustainable. You need to know the sources of all the funding, as I said before, and it will be helpful if the host club has done other global grants as well. Next slide, please. Now, if you are going to re-ask for district designated funds for a global grant, we will have to confirm that amount of money to you prior to the grant being submitted. You will do a grant in draft, but before it can be submitted, the amount of DDF funding has to be approved by the district grants committee. I would encourage everyone, if you are going to be involved in a global grant, to come to us first. Come to me particularly and talk to me about how much DDF funding your grant will require. It's the same situation as it is in a district grant. We have to be sure we have enough money to allocate from the DDF funding to meet all the requirements, or as many requirements as we can for global grants. I will say that there have been times when the matching funds which come from the foundation have run out, and RI themselves will not be able to provide the matching funds for a particular grant. And in fact, it happened, I believe, 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, in October. The money had run out because there were so many disasters in the world, and funding was just, the World Fund basically ran out of money in that account. The global grant application can be found on the RI website, not on the district website, rotary.org. And once the project has been approved and is being executed, reporting is required, and they're very strict about this. The Rotary Foundation sees stewardship on the grants as a major situation that has to be adhered to. And if the reports are not filed properly or on time, they will come after you to get it done. And there can be consequences if they're not done, but it's rare to see that happen. Every 12 months, a report of the progress of the grant has to be filed, and once the grant is executed, they are still possibly requiring reports to be filed every year. And at some point, once they're comfortable that the project is finalized and is being sustained, they will advise the host clubs and the international club that reporting is no longer needed. Foundation will not finance buildings, or as we say, bricks and mortar and solar panels. Now, they've started to make some exceptions on the bricks and mortar, but that's still the general case. They will not finance that. If you had something that you were curious about, we'd be happy to explore that with them to see if there's any possibility it can be done. And as I said, there are special situations now which they have done, but it's rare. Next slide, please. The District Foundation Grants Committee consists of our District Governor, Jeannie Tsukamoto, myself, and Pamela Singh, the grants chair. Next slide, please. Global grants are on a first come, first served basis because we have a limited amount of DDF. In many years, we have DDF funding left over at the end of the year, so it's rare that the district would run out of DDF funding for global grants. However, Rotary has started a policy that you can only bankroll your DDF funding for 5 years. At the end of the 5-year period, the DDF funding that is the oldest will get rolled over and go back into the World Fund. The exception to that is if you have money left over, you can choose where the money should be sent. It could be given to other foundation funding, but it will not be available as DDF funds. Now, because it's also last in, first out, as they say. So you have to spend your new money first in, last out, rather. You have to spend your new money first in order to, and go all the way back to get to the 5-year money and spend that so it doesn't roll over. I don't necessarily see that as being fair myself, but that's what the situation is. So to kind of make it simple or simpler for upcoming district foundation people, we made the decision this year, and it wasn't that we had to stretch to do it. We had a number of very good projects to spend DDF funding on this year, but we will have pretty much zeroed out the district, the DDF, district designated funds, at the end of this year. So next year, essentially, it'll be almost zero. So all funding coming in next year will be available for that full 5-year period. And I've instituted a spreadsheet where I'll set it up and I'll turning it over to people who succeed me, and we'll try and keep good track of that so that we get to get the maximum benefit of our annual fund giving, or DDF funds. We have to determine how much money we would be available per district, per global grant, however. Now, we use the number $10,000, but it is not a hard and fast number. If you had a particularly worthwhile global grant request, and there were maybe other clubs involved from our district, we would consider extending the amount of DDF available above the $10,000 limit. So it is not a hard and fast rule. I've done this now for a few years. So far, nobody's come to ask, but that's our position. Jeannie's on board with that. Pam's on board with that. And so if you have a really worthwhile project, don't hesitate to ask. We'd encourage you to approach other clubs within the district. And because the more that kind of thing occurs, you get more participation, more camaraderie, and it becomes much more of a district project. Currently, the Rotary Foundation matches 80% of the DDF funding. That number has come down over the years, but that's what the current policy is. So the money that the district gives for a global grant will be matched by the World Fund, 80% of that. So if we give 10,000, you'll get 8,000 back. I mean, I'm sorry, excuse me, you'll get 8,000 included in the funding. The qualifications are much the same as the district grants. You're required to attend this assembly. The goals must be entered. Annual giving, membership, and polio. I guess that's right in this slide, Pam, I think. And you must be current with district and RI dues. In addition to that, for a global grant, you're required to complete the grant management seminar in the Learning Center. It's a 10-course program. It's really not difficult, takes about 3 hours, and it's very worthwhile doing. And those, at the end of your completion of that course, you're given a certificate. You're actually given, I believe, 10 certificates, and you're required to submit those certificates to the grants committee. Global grants require a memorandum of understanding, which is available on the website, and it has to be signed by the club president and the president-elect, and submitted again with your global grant to the grants officer. Now, with a global grant, you're working closely with the foundation liaison people directly. We work with you and are required to, talk about DDF funding and so forth and help you with the grant. But you're in direct communication with the foundation with respect to a global grant. If you are involved in other global grants and you have overdue reports, you will not be allowed to work on a new global grant until those reports are completed and supplied to the foundation. Next slide, please. If you are going to consider a global grant, I would encourage you to go to rotary.org/grants and get the guide to global grants. It's very complete. It's not exactly easy reading. You need to study it, but it's very worthwhile, and it will help you in the process as you go along with respect to obtaining a global grant. That's all I have. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. I hope I didn't put everybody to sleep.
Andy, this is John Wilson. Will there be a
Yes.
global grant scholarship offered in the upcoming year?
There will be. We actually gave 3 this year. And we will certainly, we have a very active foundation committee, and we have a particularly very strong scholarship share. And within the last 2 years, we've given out a total of 5 global scholars. And in fact, those scholars, current scholars from last year, are on the district website. They're reporting, there's programming there. I encourage you to go look at it. And as they return to this country, particularly David McMillan, who he's actually from Fanwood, Scotch Plains, but he has worked in the Trenton area as an aide to the governor. I'm sorry, to the mayor. He's very active. He believes in Rotary, and he's more than willing to come to speak to your club. So if you are looking for a program and he's back, I would encourage you to reach out to him.
So is the committee currently looking for a candidate to go out after July 1?
Candidate for?
Global Grant Scholarship?
No, not yet. That typically we don't do that till a little bit later in the year. I don't remember exactly the timing, but are we looking? We're always looking. But Sharon Jane, who's the chair, goes out and very actively solicits, and if you have someone who you have to be considered, I would encourage you to reach out to Sharon and let them know. It's never too soon to let them know, that's for sure.
I just want to be sure when Andy talk about we have 3 new ones, those are the ones that we will be supporting next year.
That
And
answers my
2
question.
previous.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yes.
saying. They've already been.
Those 3, yes, they've already been selected.
That's great.
It is amazing the quality of the candidates that we get. When we used to do ambassadorial scholars years ago, I was always impressed with the young people who came to us for scholarships. It's even more impressive now. Their goals are incredibly impressive. Their ability to communicate, the education that they've already achieved, and what they want to do in the world makes you feel good to be a Rotarian and makes you really want to give them these scholarships. Last year we started with the thought we'd give 1, we gave 2. This year we thought we'd give 1, we gave 3. And we were fortunate enough to have the funding available. So if you have the opportunity to hear any of these young people, I would encourage you to do so. Any other
Andy?
questions? Yes.
Yeah. How do we get DDF?
How do we get DDF? I think I'm being
Yeah,
played here.
how do we get that number? How do we get that $127,000?
Wow, I'm glad you asked.
Maybe.
Every year, as you know, we go out on a campaign and ask the clubs to contribute to the foundation in the annual giving category, which is part of the share program that Rotary has from the foundation. The reason, and if Paul Harris money can go there, direct donations can go there. Now you have the opportunity to donate to the foundation in other areas, polio being one, which I know past District Governor Julianne will also hound you. But the money that you give in the annual fund category comes back to the district in 3 years. 47.5% of that money comes back to the district in 3 years as district designated funding. And that's where the money for the district grants and the global grants originates. How'd I do, Doctor?
Just want to be sure everybody realizes that this doesn't fall out of the sky, that when you do your foundation goals, you want to make your foundation goals so that the president 3 years from now has a lot of money to spend on good projects in your neighborhood.
And we are actually, every year we struggle with annual fund giving. Just to cite a statistic, somewhere in mid-30s, I believe it's 35 or 37.5% of the Rotarians in the world give, and the other 60 some odd percent don't. I've never understood that. If you're in Rotary, I believe you should be willing to support the Rotary Foundation, because all of the projects we do, that funding comes from the foundation. Doesn't have to be a lot. $25, $100, doesn't have to be thousands, but every penny gets put to good use. I saw a question in chat.
Yes, there's a question from Livingston Deprecation. Major changes last year to this year. Did the monetary amount change? I understand assembly is required now.
Well, the amount of money that we get as district designated funds varies every year. 3 years ago, we had a particularly good fundraising year for the annual fund. So this year it was more than normal. However,
Andy, you mean next year will be more than normal?
yes, that's what I meant. Sorry. We're talking about next year. That's why I'm saying this
Yep.
year, but yes, next year. So, however, the amount of grants and how that is structured is determined every year by the incoming district governor, by the district governor-elect. So it's possible that we may not have had as much money available as we will have next year, but we could still say we're going to give that kind of funding out and see what happens. That may or may not be the prudent thing to do, but there's no set rule for how the grant numbers are allocated. If you remember, for many, many years, we gave $1,000. It was a direct match. We've tried to stimulate the interest in district grants, which would then hopefully stimulate the interest in annual fund giving. But more than that, you know, it's harder to do projects for $1,000 these years. So we're hoping that we can get the allocations to where they need to be and give the clubs back as much as possible to encourage bigger and better grants.
And
Thanks,
also
Eddie.
for next year, as Pamela said, that clubs can apply up to 2 district grants. And the second grant must be in collaboration with another club or clubs. That is our effort to really promote and encourage all the clubs to collaborate with another club and work together in terms of serving your community. So we hope many of the clubs here will take advantage of that.
Jeannie, also there's a second part to Deborah's question. I understand assembly is required now for the
I don't
grants.
understand what you mean by that, Debbie.
You know, Pam, I had that.
Sorry, my phone glitched. I was just trying to understand the differences of last year versus this year. Livingston was actually very fortunate to have a global grant succeed, partnering with Nepal for rheumatic heart detection. We partnered with Gift of Life and also with Nepal. So I was just curious, other than the change of the assembly being required, those 10 courses.
What exactly do you mean the assembly is required?
So I think that I heard that there was a change that now you have to complete 10 courses in order to submit a grant, which I don't believe that was the case last year, correct?
Oh, for
That's
global
correct.
grant.
That's it. That's a
Yes,
new.
I'm talking
that's
about
an
the global
addition.
grant.
That's an addition that was added this year. We thought it would be very worthwhile for those who want to participate in global grants, because typically when you say, oh, I want to do a global grant, and then you scratch your head and say, what do I do next? Well,
But if you've succeeded as a club, I apologize. If you succeeded as a club in doing one and you know how to do it, is that still a requirement? If you've successfully completed a global grant and you have a deep understanding of how to do so, is that still a requirement?
Yes.
It is.
Yes, it is
Okay.
still it is still a requirement.
Understood. Thank you.
There's a question from Westfield. Sorry, is someone trying to say something? There's a question from Westfield. Projects can take place before grant application is approved, but club needs to submit receipts in order to get reimbursed. Isn't reimbursement a grant? What's the difference between the two? This is from Bureau.
I'm not sure I understand the question. Let me read the.
Could you please clarify?
On the rules that Pamela read, it says that no project should take place or start before the application has been approved by the grants committee. But on another place, it requires that you need to submit receipts of expenses in order to be reimbursed. Now, is this, will reimbursement be considered as one of the grants, since we have only 2 grants to apply from each club? And if not, what's the difference?
The receipts are for what you spend on a project. So those, so whatever you're purchasing for the project, the receipt has to be dated, the approval date or later. Every project you're buying something, so that's what I mean by a receipt. When you purchase something, you get a receipt, and that receipt, and if it's for the project, then that receipt has to be dated after the grant approval
Yeah.
date.
Don't spend anything until after the grant's approved.
All right.
Am I wrong?
No?
No,
No, thank you. Thank you. I understand now.
okay.
One
thanks.
one thing I'd like to correct in your initial statement, you should not proceed with the grant until the Rotary Foundation has approved. the
Yes,
district grant.
yes, I saw that. Mhm.
The-
Yes,
Pamela will tell you that your grant has been accepted, but it will not be approved until the Rotary Foundation reviews our district grant, which is composed of all of the club grants. They review, let's say there are 50 club grants, they review every one of those and then give their approval to our district grants, and you are then informed that you can proceed with your particular grant.
However, from a club perspective, if you're passionate about the project that you're doing, go ahead and do it and hope that you get a grant to support your effort. But if not, go for it.
It can't be
the
done.
district grants cannot be started before being approved by the Rotary Foundation. You have to wait until then. That's why we have from May to July to apply for a grant, which is first approved by the district. And then it's sent to the Rotary Foundation, who reads every project that has applied for a grant. And based on that, if they look good, they approve it. And then the approval comes back, and then through the system, I generate an email that comes to every club that has applied for a grant to say that your grant has been approved, and you start your project that day forward
So the bottom line
until
of it
April
is,
30th.
if you do your project before grant approval, it's 100% club expense.
Yeah.
Rotary International will not approve a receipt that is dated prior to them giving approval to the district grant.
The receipt, yes, it has to be approval date and later. So whatever you purchase for your project, you have to wait for the approval, and then you cannot start the project before that.
If I can, Pamela, one question on that.
Certainly.
This past year, we did the dictionary project, and we did start a little later. But if we order the dictionaries before the approval from RI, but we don't pay for it until well after that approval, does that count?
When the receipt's dated.
Well, it is the date on the receipt will be the date that you ordered it, or the dictionary project receives your order. So that will not be approved.
Because
it has to wait, it has to be later than that.
Because the order can be placed at any time, but we don't pay for it until months later.
Date of the receipt, date of the invoice.
Date of the invoice or the date of the receipt? Because we could always request a receipt upon payment.
No, the invoice date, the invoice for it cannot be before. I mean, just simple that, that's what they have asked for. Previously, we have started accumulating, buying things for a project, but now they're very strict, and it's an FYI for all of us, that we don't lose out on our projects,
Pamela, the reason why I'm asking that question is because, in a project that we work together,
Yes.
and with the other 5 clubs for the veterans,
Mhm.
I have to order the stuff. I have to order the stuff 3 months ahead. And in order for me to order the 3 months ahead and confirm that they're gonna purchase it for me, I have to pay ahead. So, I mean, that's an issue. Even if I apply for it, even if I apply for the grant, I'm going to be already too late because the invoice is paid way before.
That's true.
Ouch. All right.
All right.
And
Can you
we-
make, I have a dumb question there. Can you make a
Oh,
pledge?
no
Like,
question
to
is
be
that.
honest with you, with the dictionary project, you don't order, you pledge. And maybe he can use that same terminology.
I'll try.
Okay, we have this last question here online. If there's a local emergency where assistance is time of essence, that would not be suitable as a district grant project. That is correct.
Jeannie, there's one more before that from Lisa Messick from Rockaway. As a point of clarification, are the 10 courses required to be completed by one person in a club, or is it possible to share that the requirement between clubs that will partner together?
And we are
One person should complete the course. There's nothing wrong with more than one person doing it. But the certificates are awarded to one person. When you go into the Learning Center and you start the course, it'll be in your My Rotary page. So it has to be done by one person.
And this applies to global grants, these 10
Mhm.
courses.
Correct. Global grants only.
Yes.
Okay, I don't
Jeannie?
see more questions.
Jeannie,
More,
There are two
Julianne?
more in there.
can I have a 20-second commercial? I'm your district polio giving chair for next year. If anybody needs any information or wants to talk to me or have somebody come to the club, please contact me. I'm in the Branchburg Club, and I'm your polio chair for next year. I'd love to talk to you. I've done a bunch of Zoom meetings with people. Unfortunately, I can't drive everywhere, but I am available to talk to anybody about polio at any time. Thank you.
Thank you, Julianne. If there's no other
Thanks, Julia.
comments, I am sure if you have additional questions, please let Andy and Pamela know. They will give you the answers. You can contact them directly. If you have any question about any of this stuff that we talked about, or you want to pass on the information that you have learned today and in any other district learning assembly sessions, simply go to the website, or you can, if you have any comments or anything, please contact me, Barry, or Kalpana on any of the subjects. And we thank you very much for your participation. And Barry and Kalpana, did we get all the names for attendance purpose?
Yes.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank
Jeannie,
you
what,
again.
what